Welcome to the Talking Heads podcast. It's the animated podcast about floating disembodied heads in jars. And today I'm joined with Noah, also known as Polyphonic. How you doing, man? Thanks for coming on.
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be a head in a jar.
Oh, yeah. Fun fact, we keep all the previous guest head in a closet in the back behind the camera guy. That's where we keep all the heads.
Oh, nice. I like that. So I can go visit. Yeah. I can go visit Jonathan's head and laugh at him.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of room back there, so
you got to keep it open for the future guests.
yeah. You know, plan ahead.
No pun intended.
Exactly. Very highbrow here.
Absolutely.
So you want to kind of explain what you do on your YouTube channel? What kind of videos you make?
Yeah. So I am a music video essayist, which means that I do video essays about music, I guess. So I'm just kind of talking about, a lot of the time it's kind of the cultural history behind music. Sometimes it's lyrical analysis, sometimes it's theory. I guess most of my stuff kind of falls into like classic rock, dad rock, but really I try to diversify and just any music that interests me. So they're little just kind of like 5 to 10 minute videos, sometimes a bit more, just talking about music.
How long you been making videos like that?
About 2.5 years now. I started, or at least I released them. I released my first video on June 1st, 2017, I believe.
What's the genesis story of Polyphonic? How'd you get into it? How'd you get into YouTube? How'd you get the name? What's the story behind it?
I mean, I guess the oldest thing would be the name. I've just always liked the word polyphonic. Means having many sounds, and it's music related. When I was in first year university, I kind of started to, I tried to start kind of like a music blog website called Polyphonic, but that was dead in the water. But I always kind of hung on to the name. And then kind of a few years back, I just got really into, I mean, I've always watched a lot of YouTube. I used to, when I was a kid, when I was like 13 or 14, I would edit hockey highlight videos on YouTube.
What?
Yeah.
What was the name of that channel? Is it still around?
Yeah, but it was just my name, and I don't really want to dox myself. But I can send you the link after.
Yeah, that'd be great. That's awesome.
Yeah, those were just kind of like edited together in iMovie, set hockey highlights to rock song. So I always had interest in video editing and interest in YouTube. And then one day I was kind of, I had been watching a lot of YouTube, and I stumbled upon the channel Nerdwriter, which I love to this day. And I started watching Nerdwriter, and then kind of started voraciously devouring similar content, every frame of painting, and a lot of the stuff Fox was doing, and all of this stuff. But there was very few people doing this specifically on music. So like, I know I love this stuff, and there's kind of this big gap in the market where there was people talking about music on YouTube, but that was a lot more theory stuff, where I kind of wanted this cultural analysis in these stylized video essays. And then I was like, well, you know what? I've got the video editing skills. I've got a background in music journalism, and I just have a wide knowledge of music. So why not just throw some videos together? So I threw some together, and I liked them. So I decided to launch a channel, and it kind of took off pretty quick. And that's how we got to today.
What's like the first video that really took off, would you say? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was my John Bonham video, What Makes John Bonham Such a Good Drummer, which is, I think it's closing in on 10 million views right now.
That's crazy.
When I released that video, I was feeling good because I was thinking it might get 1,000 views. So
yeah, damn.
Yeah, so that one just
kind of exceeded.
Yeah.
Exceeded expectations.
Yeah, to say the least. Yeah, I remember the first video taking off pretty well.
What'd that feel like when you realized you could kind of do this as your job? Did that feel good?
It was really cool. It was very nerve-wracking because there's kind of no safety net, and if it fails, then it fails. But it was also really, really cool to, I don't know, to be able to kind of, take your life into your own hands a little bit, and to have something that you really enjoy doing, and something that you were doing as a hobby before, for that to even have a shot at turning into your job was a pretty cool feeling.
That's pretty badass, dude.
Thank you.
Congrats. I'm actually fairly new to your channel. I discovered you through Horns and Wings, but we can get to that later. Yeah, so I've been watching a lot of videos lately. They're super slick and clean. Do you edit your videos?
Yeah. I am a team of one, basically, at least for the content. I edit my videos. My amazing fiance, she edits a lot of my scripts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I do all of the script writing, I do all the video editing, I do all the sound editing, all the voiceover. It's pretty much me, and then I have a team at my agency that help me with kind of the business end of things. But yeah, it's funny, a lot of the time people message me and go like, hey, you guys, or things like that, like kind of assume that there's a team behind me, but no, it's just me going solo.
Yeah, dude, they have like this cool kind of like photo collage look to them.
Oh yeah. I try to create that aesthetic sometimes. It's something I've always liked.
Yeah. So what is the editing process like? So how long does it take to put a video together?
It really depends video to video, but it's usually, I'd say, anywhere between 30 and 60 hours of labor. Some videos where I do stuff like kinetic typography or a lot of motion graphics or things like that are more labor intensive, obviously. So generally, my process is I'll have a bunch of scripts. I kind of write the scripts independently of the videos. Usually when I'm script writing, I'll do a batch and in a day or two write 2 or 3 scripts. And so I've kind of got this backlog, and then I'll pick a script, or usually it's kind of the script picks me. Like I get this idea that I want to talk about, or I look at my scripts and there's one that resonates. So the script is usually kind of a day's work, again, give or take, doing my research, writing out the script, and doing all that. And then usually the first thing that I'll do after that is I will make my thumbnail, actually, because each of my videos I try to have a different aesthetic. So a lot of the time I find Photoshop, it's a lot easier to play around and create an aesthetic with, and then I will reverse engineer that look and that feel into a longer video in Premiere.
Okay.
The editing in Premiere is pretty much same old, just a lot of click and dragging, a lot of keyframing,
Very nice.
Pretty much the same old, just a lot of editing. And then I work a few weeks in advance, so usually I kind of put it together and then let it sit, and then a few days before it's ready to go, I'll give it a final pass through. And a lot of the time then I'll be approaching it with a new mind, right? So there will be be little things that I'll notice, like typos or just keyframing that I was happy with before but wasn't with now, and things, transitions.
Clean it up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And so then I usually just clean it up and put it out there to the world.
The degraded media video in particular, that one was super badass. I'm super into vaporwave.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks, man. That was I really, really enjoyed making that. It was kind of a different kind of video for me because it was almost more of a philosophy video, really.
Do you have a video that's like a personal favorite for you?
It changes a lot. A lot of my older stuff I can't watch, but my degraded media one is actually one of my personal favorites. I thought it was different than what I usually do, and I liked that I was able to experiment and still do some cool stuff. And then I would also say my Frank Sinatra video is one of my all-time favorites. I feel like I just really captured a mood very well in that video, and I'm still really proud of the way it looks and feels, and I think it's telling a really cool story. So that one probably to this day sits at or near the top of my favorites.
What I like about your videos too, it's like you have something there for like music fans and music lovers, but there's also a lot of like historical aspects to it too, which I really like and I didn't expect to see in these kinds of videos.
Yeah, I really like to try to kind of center people historically, and I feel like when you can understand the cultural history of a song, it'll give you a better appreciation of that song. And I like history, so it's fun to do this kind of stuff. And I also just think I kind of think of my target audience not as the die-hard music fan. I think my target audience is kind of the casual music fan who likes their songs and has some songs that they really like, or one genre that they really like, or things like that. And I like to kind of hopefully be a bridge to lead these people to new music or new appreciations of music, or if it's on the music they love, new ways to listen to the music they love. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do.
I feel like I am that demographic. That's funny that you say that.
Oh, awesome.
In a lot of your videos too, you talk about this Nebula streaming platform.
Yes.
I want to hear more about this. This seems super interesting to me. You want to explain what Nebula is a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I should start with I'm part of an agency called Standard. They do a lot of stuff for their YouTubers, but they negotiate my ad deals, and they kind of can talk to YouTube on my behalf, and they have all these resources and stuff. But within Standard, we've also got a Slack where we're all just kind of talking to each other. And there's some pretty big YouTubers in Standard. It was founded by Kurzgesagt and CGP Grey. And then you've also got kind of like Philosophy Tubes in there, H Bomber Guy, Lindsay Ellis. We've got this Slack with all of these YouTubers, and all of us are kind of constantly running into our own struggles with YouTube for one reason or another, and just YouTube is not a fun platform to be on. So we all kind of started talking about creating our own streaming platform that's kind of more geared towards independent educational creators. And so we did it, and a lot of the reasons behind Standard are kind of specifically to give an alternative to some of the issues with YouTube. Like, for example, YouTube, everything is pushed by the algorithm. There is no algorithm on Standard. There's no watch next even. You find the people you like, and you can browse and see who you might like, and then you watch their videos on Nebula, and it's very kind of clean. Because the problem with the algorithm is, well, there's a lot of problems, but one of the biggest things is it really encourages creators to stick in their lane. Because if you do something that doesn't appeal to your target audience, then your video won't be recommended, which means your next video won't be recommended, and onwards until you get lucky or do something that you know your audience will like again. So that was also one of the big impetuses behind Nebula, was a creator-owned platform where creators are able to fool around and do some different stuff. I've wanted to talk about like film and literature and stuff like that, and Nebula is the kind of place where I could do that without worrying about alienating my crowd, right?
What kind of videos have you made on Nebula about literature?
I haven't made any yet, because the thing is, functionally as a one-person team, I still need to put out YouTube videos every week. But we do have a series that I kind of pitched and developed called Working Titles. In this series, each episode is a different creator looking at the title sequence of a different TV show. And so I did the pilot of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
so I did an episode on Game of Thrones,
Cool.
And then you've got like Sage from Just Right talking about Batman the Animated Series. And
That's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you have Patrick Willems talking about the X-Men animated show.
Hell yeah.
We've got Cinema Wins talking about Stranger Things. Like, really, there's...
Nice, cool.
Yeah. And this is another thing that we kind of want to be able to do, is do these projects where multiple creators can jump in and collaborate and give their different ideas on a topic, because in a lot of YouTube, collaboration is actually a really difficult thing to do, especially for people with small teams, and especially for people that do my kind of content where we do a lot of the editing ourselves, and it's kind of difficult and clunky to like pass editing over to somebody else and send it back, and there's a lot of logistical difficulties to collaboration, but Nebula helps us get over some of those, because it helps us experiment and fool around without worrying about getting lost in the algorithm.
And it's tough too to put yourself out there as well.
Oh, absolutely.
How old is Nebula? Did you say that earlier?
No, it's pretty new. It's a few months old. I forget exactly when it launched, but sometime this past summer was when it came out.
Sounds like you're really devoted to like the community. You got a good sense of community around you. That's awesome.
I think it's really important because the nature of my work, like I said, I work alone. I don't have coworkers to talk to during the day and stuff like that, so I kind of use this Slack and talk to other YouTubers in that sense. And really, I really value being able to talk to people with similar experience, because there are struggles in this job, but when you talk to your family and friends a lot of the time, and I don't blame them, like they have a difficult time understanding kind of the struggles and trials of and tribulations, because all they can see is you've got this cool dream job, which it is a cool dream job. It's also
doesn't mean it's easy.
Yes. Exactly. It's still a job. It really takes a lot out of you, so it really helps to have people sharing tips or even just venting about videos underperforming and things like that.
Yeah, you know, it's like you just got to find your tribe, man.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, every job's got its problems. It's easy for people to forget that as well. Yeah, speaking of community as well, so you are on another podcast. And
yes, I am.
I mentioned it earlier. Horns and Wings. You want to explain Horns and Wings to anyone out there who hasn't heard of it? I don't know anyone listening to this has probably heard it, because I fucking blast that shit. It is a great podcast.
And because you were on it.
First guest ever. I fucking proudly wear that crown. I should just change that to my YouTube banner. It should just be first guest on Horns and Wings.
I think you should put that on your LinkedIn.
Yeah, perfect. That would be perfect. I'm going to do that.
But yeah, so Horns and Wings. So you and I have a mutual friend, great dude called Jonathan O'Roselion. He runs the channel Make Stuff.
Great channel.
Yeah, exactly. I'm kind of always looking for good YouTube content. I consider it part of my job to watch similar content to mine, and I also consider it fun. So, you know, double whammy. And one day I came across his channel and really liked it, and so I kind of reached out. I gave him a shout out on Twitter and followed him, and he messaged me and thanked me for the shout out and said he liked my channel. And so then we started talking, and we actually, kind of to go back to what we were talking about with collaboration earlier, we talked and threw off like so many ideas of videos to collaborate on and off, like every few weeks. Like one of us would message the other because we wanted to find a way to do something together. And then he released his Saga video, which is a phenomenal video. Go check it out.
Oh, it is so good.
Saga is my favorite comic and maybe my favorite book ever. Saga is just absolutely phenomenal.
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And so I reached out to him, and I had also wanted a podcast where I could just kind of shoot the shit a little and blow off steam. And so I reached out and suggested to him, hey, we should start a podcast where we read Saga one issue at a time. And he said, hell yeah. And so that's the podcast. We started it a few months back, and every week we read, recap, and analyze a different issue of Saga. And honestly, it is just so much fun. It's just a really lighthearted time, and it's really nice to have something that's kind of talking about something I love outside of music, because I do love music, but sometimes I feel kind of pigeonholed because I have a lot of other passions, and one of them is comics and storytelling, and I get to talk about both of those a lot in Horns and Wings, which is a ton of fun.
Sick name, by the way, for a podcast. I'll
Thank
say
you.
that.
Thank
till
you.
I die. But yeah, it is a lot of fun as a listener and someone who's been on it. And you know what else too? This isn't Horns and Wings, so you can spoil Saga if you want. I won't tell anyone. No, yeah, it's so funny too, because like Saga is how I found John and Make Stuff, and then like it's how I found you as well and eventually met you. I don't know the last time I got as invested into the characters in a story before, and I was like, dude, I gotta watch a video about it, and I found John because of his Saga video, and I was like, dude, I gotta talk to this guy.
I think it's interesting because I mean it's one of the most celebrated comics of all time, but comics are a pretty niche market, and it's difficult to find a lot of people talking critically about it. Yeah, I totally felt the same. Where I'm like in my mind, Saga is something that's like on the same level as like Lord of the Rings or something like that.
It is really good,
and it just felt ridiculous to me that there was like, I mean, I had a few friends that read it, but there was almost nobody on the internet like really seriously talking about it. And I think it's really fun because we have this little niche community now. But I also think it's just like a travesty. Like there should be the Saga subreddit should be like putting together fan theories like the Song of Ice and Fire subreddit.
Oh my God.
I just Saga is such a kind of beautiful, perfect, monumental work, right?
You're not caught up on it, right?
No, I am still like 3 issues behind, I think, or maybe 2.
Do you know nothing? You know nothing about how it ends or where it's at right now?
I know actually if we're allowed Saga spoilers.
For
those of you who are unspoiled, kind of the last thing that I kind of remember is
Spoilers! Alert! Spoilers!
Very close to the end, but not quite there yet.
I gotcha. Are you afraid that it is getting overhyped? Are you afraid of being disappointed?
No, because Saga's never disappointed me. What I'm really afraid of is emotional trauma.
Yeah, dude, I'm pretty new to comics as well. Like I have like the classics like Watchmen and Dark Knight, and I read Walking Dead for quite a while, picking up the trades. But Saga, man, it fucking grabbed me. I didn't think it would. Like it came out of nowhere how hooked I got into it.
I remember like pretty much I picked up the trades because I had heard good things about it. And I was looking for something new to read. I picked up the first one and just like I literally don't think I could put it down once I started reading it. And that's like not the cliche. Like I'm pretty sure that I just like sat down at whatever the nearest chair was and tore through the first volume. And I'm pretty sure the next day I went and got the second trade. Like it just enraptured me like very few things have.
I'm right there with you, man. I think I read the first one probably like 2 or 3 months before the last volume came out, and I burned through them pretty quick. I got in like the perfect time and the worst time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember my fiance, I introduced it to her, and she also loves it. And the first time that we read it, the first time that she read it, we were on a drive back from visiting family, and it was on a 10-hour drive, and it was me and her and my mom in the car, and me and my mom sat in the front seat and just talked, and the entire time she just read every single Saga book. I think there were 6 volumes out at that point, just in succession in the back of this car ride for basically the whole car ride, just one after the other, just tearing through them.
Yeah, I did that with the first Walking Dead omnibus.
Yeah, I've read a lot of The Walking Dead. I think like volume 12 or 13 is where I kind of stopped following, but that was a long time ago, so I don't remember that much. But I remember
they ended it. It's over now. They ended it.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I stopped reading it probably like a year or 2 ago, and they just ended it a couple months ago.
I should probably go reread and get it all caught up, because I did really enjoy it. I don't like the show. I find the show very boring.
I liked the show for about 4 seasons, I think, and then I lost interest in it.
Honestly, I feel like most TV shows get about 4 really good seasons somewhere out of them, and then even the best ones have some lulls and stuff like that.
Yeah. Have you seen Primal yet?
No.
Yeah, it's like it was on Adult Swim like a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, sick.
And it's animated. It's called Primal. It's about a caveman and a T-Rex that like are surviving in like the Jurassic period or some shit. And there's no talking or words in it. And they released a new episode each day for like 6 days, and they played the whole season in a week. It was badass.
I am definitely gonna go watch that. That sounds amazing. I'm a big fan of animated TV, so I'll definitely watch that.
Yeah, it's a good time for it. It's a good time for it, that's for sure.
I also really like kind of like standalone series like that, and I wish there was more. Like one of my favorite things in existence is Over the Garden Wall.
Dude, yeah, I watch that shit every October.
Yeah, absolutely.
I always get my kid to watch it too. I'm like, dude, you gotta sit down and watch this. This gets you in the perfect mood.
That's actually the kind of stuff that I'm so excited for when I have kids to share with them.
Oh, dude, it is. I'm telling you, it's the best part. But it is also opposite side of the coin. It is the worst when you like show them something that you love and then they're like just not into it at all.
Yeah.
That's just it. It's equally as like devastating as the other side is. But yeah, Over the Garden Wall. It's great. I actually just watched a video today about how it's like the perfect thing for Halloween. Captain Midnight. You know who that is?
Oh, yeah. He's actually also, he has done a working titles on Cheers. And
nice.
He's also with Standard. I've met him. He's a good dude.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, he made a dope Over the Garden Wall video.
Yeah, I must have missed that. I will check that out. Over the Garden Wall is awesome.
I guess coming back to Saga. So are you gonna stream when you read the last two issues?
I'm gonna record it. I'm gonna record
it
and record my live reaction. I don't think I'm gonna live stream it because I feel like someone reading a book doesn't make very compelling live stream audio.
Yeah, you just gotta read it and then say what your immediate reaction is.
Yeah, I'll read it and just have something recording while I read it, and then immediately I'll sit down and record what I feel. There's some moments that I'm really kind of excited but also terrified to get to on Horns and Wings. Again, another spoiler here. I am still
Spoilers! Alert! Spoilers!
I fucking love when they go...
Alert! Spoilers! Alert! Spoilers!
So it was funny, after our last episode, I finished up, and I think that was the end of the third trade, and I think that's all that was out when I first started reading in trade, so those are the ones that I'm much more kind of familiar with. And then as soon as it finished up, I sat down and just started reading the fourth trade and just found myself glued to it again and just read until I had to podcast and got to the
Spoilers! Alert! Spoilers!
It's a crazy good book, and it's definitely gotten me more invested into comics. I finally read Akira as well. I've been wanting to do that for a long time.
Oh yeah, I've never actually read. I haven't read much manga. I really do want to read Akira a lot though. I also really want to read Bart Kira. Do you know about Bart Kira?
I have heard of Bart Kira. That is insane. Yeah, I think didn't Super Eye Patch Wolf make a video about that or something?
He did a video talking about that. That was actually. That Super Eye Patch Wolf Simpsons video was a game changer in my mind, in the way that he kind of talked about the Simpsons, but also just our digital existence and things like that. That was actually something that really got me. That was kind of a direct influence on my Degraded Media video, because I was like, there's people out here doing really cool, clever, and really kind of emotional takes on this kind of stuff. So I'm gonna I kind of started brainstorming as I wanted to do something that hit me in the same way as that video did, because I thought that video was so hilarious and bizarre, but also just really emotionally resonant, and I was really impressed by that.
Yeah, he really captures that feeling of vaporwave, dude. If you want to learn more about vaporwave too, there was this sick documentary about Macintosh Plus or something. Oh, it was fucking Down the Rabbit Hole. Have you seen that channel?
No.
Oh my God, check out Down the Rabbit Hole.
Oh, I've had this recommended to me. I've seen this thumbnail in my suggested
in the feed. Yeah. So that sculpture, that's one of the first vaporwave albums. It's Macintosh Plus. It's the iconic vaporwave song. It's that one, and then Resonance by Home is another big one as well. But yeah, he goes deep in that shit. This guy whoops. He makes some badass videos as well, just about YouTube lore and shit. videos like that. But yeah, speaking of rabbit holes, we're going down one, and I'd love to keep talking, but I think we should wrap it up here. Noah, thanks again for coming on. Polyphonic YouTube channel. Go check it out, guys. You got anything you want to plug, Noah? What do you got coming down the pipeline?
Actually, I'm working on a series that's debuting. It'll actually, the first one will probably be up by the time you're done this. Where it's a series looking at 5 artists that define the decade in my mind. So I'm gonna do a video on each of them each week leading up towards the end of the year. So it's actually it's a pretty cool kind of different project for me, something a bit bigger and more cohesive. So I'm kind of looking over the decades of some of the biggest artists the last 10 years and all the albums they did and their cultural impact.
That's cool. That's crazy. We're about to start a new decade.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
Damn. Well, yeah, you want to tell the people where to find you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of those are Watch Polyphonic, or you can look up Polyphonic on YouTube, and I should probably be the first thing that comes up. Yeah, watch my degraded media video. That was really fun to make. It's something different, so I'd like to get more eyes on it. Oh, and listen to my podcast, but as you said, you've probably plugged that lots and you've been on it, so I think most people listening to this probably know about it.
Go check out Horns and Wings. And go check out Polyphonic. I'll link to your both those channels down in the description. Thanks again for coming on, man. It was really great talking to you. Get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, that's it. Thanks for watching the Talking Heads podcast.
Whoa, you're still here. Click up here to subscribe and click here to watch some of our other videos. You dingus.